Hi, I'm Jack. I'm 13 and I live in Invercargill.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm 11 and I live in Invercargill and go to James Hargis.
And I'm Melanie Ryding, and I also live in Invercargill, and I run Ryding to Health.
First question, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a wee tiny place called Burnley in Lancashire, which is in the north of England. Burnley used to be, when I was a little kid, really good at soccer, and then they forgot how to play it for a wee while, and they've just recently got back into the Premiership. It's quite hilly, it's a little bit like Invercargill, and the people are really quite friendly, which is a bit like Invercargill. So really, I think I've landed in the best part of New Zealand.
Why did you start racing for Great Britain?
Well, one Christmas I decided to go buy myself some trousers, and the trousers I was going to buy wouldn't fit. I was too fat for them. So I decided I need to go on a diet. So I did that, and I was reading a book about a lady who was suffering from cancer at the time, and she had been running all the way across Europe and cycling across America and all sorts of crazy things, and she had done an Ironman triathlon, and the first time she did it, she hadn't managed to get to the end because she had not done her swim fast enough, and so she'd gone back and tried again. I thought, well, heck, if somebody like her can do a triathlon, then so can I. So I went to the swimming pool and learnt how to swim because I couldn't swim at the time. And then after I learned how to swim, I got back on my bike and learned how to cycle, and then I learned how to run, and then I gave it a go. Simple as that.
3. Why did you choose the triathlon?
Because I get bored really easily. That's why, because I get bored really easily. So I didn't want to just do one thing because if I get bored with the swimming, then I can go cycling. If I get bored with the cycling, I can go running. So then it was always a bit of variation. And I quite like the fact that if you're rubbish at cycling, but you've got swimming and running, you still might be able to win the race. So I was always really quite rubbish at running, but quite good at swimming and not too bad at cycling. So I got quite good at the triathlon, but if I'd just been doing running races, I'd have been a bit...
Why did you move to New Zealand?
Well, I came to New Zealand with Team GB to do the 2011 World Championships, and it was in Auckland, and I had never really considered New Zealand before that. I didn't even know where it was, like some wee tiny island in the middle of nowhere, and I only got as far down as Taupo and Hamilton in the top end of North Island, and I quite liked it, and I thought, it's quite nice here. So I had a wee look on the website when I got back to see whether they wanted any teachers, and they did. Teaching was on the visa list. So I applied for a few jobs, and well, here I am. It happened in about 6 months. My mum thought I was making it up when I told her I was moving. She thought I'd been scheming it for years and hadn't told her. Actually, no, it's really fast.
5. Why did you come to Invercargill?
Because I applied for 6 jobs, and one gave me an interview by telephone, and it was for Ruru School in Invercargill, and I had never heard of Invercargill, so it's like, Invercargill, what's it got? Oh, it's got a velodrome and a swimming pool. That's all right, that's all I need. And it's by the sea.
6. Why did you start personal training?
Well, whilst I was racing for Great Britain, a lot of people used to ask me if I would coach them, and I wouldn't because I didn't want to tell them my secrets. But I hadn't really been happy in teaching for quite a wee while, and I'd been looking to do something else, and I finally decided to quit teaching in 2014. And I had already done a triathlon qualification, and I'd already been doing some swim teaching, so I added personal training to it because it seemed logical.
7. When did you first want to start your own gym?
I didn't. It really happened quite by accident. Here's what happened. I decided to resign as a teacher in October of 2014, and I'd started the personal training qualification, and it only took me 6 months to do because I've done a lot of study online. I'd get through it quite fast, and then in February the following year or so I was finished, so I decided I would see if I could start up a couple of classes. And I put a couple of things on Facebook. I asked one of the teachers in one of the schools I'd worked in whether they had a hall free, and my neighbour next door would run up her drive and do personal training with me in my garage. And then about 6 or 8 weeks, and I was running out of time because a lot of people seem to want me to go to places, and I was running out of time to get everywhere. So my husband Mark spotted this wee tiny building that was for lease and said, I think you need a building. I was like, don't be so crazy, I do not need a building. A month or 6 weeks later I'd signed the lease for that, but they wanted me to sign the lease for 2 years. At this point I was like, I just don't know, because 2 years is a long time. Already I've gone from driving a car around town to needing a building. 2 years from now I might actually not need this building, it might be too small. But she made me sign the lease. So I signed the lease for this wee tiny building, and right as you were, about 8 months later, it was too small. So I ended up moving to a bigger building, because I think it's because I'm slightly different. Because everybody imagines a personal trainer to be young and skinny with little lycra pants on and things like that. And I'm just like a normal person that used to be fat, and now I'm not quite so fat. And so, yeah, it's been a bit more successful than I thought, to be honest.
8. Why did you change from being a teacher to a personal trainer?
Because I hated teaching. The problem is with teaching, I did it for 17 years, and I used to really like it when I started, and now there's an awful lot of paperwork involved in teaching. There's more paperwork involved in teaching than there is in teaching, actually. And so I started to really hate it, because I wanted to just be with the people. I only cared about my students, and I had to do all this other stuff, and it just got a bit too much, and I was getting a bit bored with it. So why do something that's boring when you can do something else instead?
9. Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Goodness me. Well, I've already had my dear husband speculating about opening a franchise chain of riding to health gyms. Who knows whether that'll actually be the case. And because of the speed it's gone at, this building, 2 more years, this building's going to be too small, then what are you going to do? And so it's really hard to say. 10 years, let me see, how old I'll be in 10 years. 57. I'm hoping in 10 years that I'll be at the point where somebody else is running the business instead of me, and I'm just pocketing the cash. What, sitting on a nice desert island with a sangria.
Number 10. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you'd done?
Oh, I think they'd be quite flummoxed, because I'm a good girl, really, and I've never been arrested in my life. So I'm really not sure that they would know what was going on. And probably the only logical explanation would be speeding. But I don't know, because I haven't done anything crazy since I was a student. So I think they'd be like, are you sure you've got the right person? Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for the interview. Thank you.